on this edition of RPPV News. A Frankston stalker faces court, AGL backs out of Crib Point, and we imagine the peninsula in 2040. Hello, I'm Catie Sharp. Welcome to the latest edition of RPPV News, bringing you stories from across Frankston and the Mornington Peninsula. A Frankston man has been charged with stalking Richmond AFL footballer Dylan Grimes and his wife. 40-year-old Christopher Zammit allegedly sent a string of threatening messages to the footballer's Instagram account last August, apparently triggered by a controversial free kick in a game against Essendon. Mr Zammit faces 2 counts of stalking, 2 of using a carriage service to menace and 1 of making a threat. Police also allege that in July and August of last year, Mr Zammit abused AFL umpire Andrew Stevens in 3 voicemail messages left on a phone connected to Mr Stevens' business. He appeared at Frankston Magistrates Court this week to face the charges. His bail has been extended until his next appearance in June. AGL has formally withdrawn its referral for a proposed gas import facility at Crib Point. The announcement follows last month's rejection of their application by State Planning Minister Richard Wynne, as well as the sudden resignation of their CEO Brett Redman, which led to a plummet in AGL's stock value. Federal Minister for Flinders Greg Hunt reported this week that AGL has formally withdrawn their project from consideration under the Environment Protection and Biodiversity Conservation Act. The project was referred for assessment under the Act in 2018 as it was considered likely to have significant environmental impact. This meant that approval under the Act was required before the project could commence. As the referral has been withdrawn, a decision will now not need to be made. What should life on the Mornington Peninsula look like in 2040? That is the question Mornington Peninsula Shire is asking the community throughout May and June. The Imagine Peninsula 2040 Community Vision Project is asking, what is important to you, what do you love and want to protect, and what would you change? The project is the biggest community engagement initiative ever undertaken by the Council. The first phase includes an online questionnaire, pop-up stalls hosted by community ambassadors, and online forums. The second phase will feature a randomly selected citizens panel which will incorporate the feedback into a community vision. This will guide the development of other council documents such as the Council Plan, Health and Wellbeing Plan, and the Long-Term Financial Plan. The Shire is seeking feedback from as many community members as possible. You can find out more and take the survey at the Shire website. For 2 years, the Committee for Greater Frankston has campaigned for the extension of the Metropolitan Rail line past Frankston to Langwarrin and on to Baxter. Extension of the line would connect an additional 37,000 residents to the public transport network and free up car parking in central Frankston. RPPV met with CEO Ginevra Hosking to find out what the hold-up is.
Look, this is the most important infrastructure project for Frankston, for the Greater Frankston area, but also in Mornington Peninsula. It's about connecting the 400,000 people in our region into Frankston and then up the line to Melbourne and getting to people to jobs faster. There was an initial commitment of $225 million in the 2018 budget from the federal government, which has bipartisan support at a federal level, but as yet the Victorian state government has yet to commit to the project. So in 2018 the Commonwealth government committed $225 million towards the rail extension, and that received bipartisan federal report. But this project, the project to extend the Frankston train line, requires both levels of government to agree, and as yet the Victorian Labor Party has not yet committed to the project. The study that has been completed has indicated that it'll bring huge benefits. So one of the challenges is that Frankston only has 416 commuter car parks, yet that supports the entire population of Frankston and the Mornington Peninsula. So you've got the congestion you see in Frankston City is a function of the train line failing to allow for the needs for people to connect. And this project was actually, Infrastructure Australia recognised this, and we've been able to list it as a national infrastructure priority for the country. So it's a top 150 project in the country. The research that's been done for Infrastructure Australia is that you can't reduce the congestion in Frankston, you can't allow the city to function as a vibrant city centre without an extension to the train line, so that the commuters are moved away from the city. Aside from being able to relocate commuters away from the city centre, you also create a station for Monash University's campus in Peninsula and the hospital. So all of the students coming in no longer have to rely on cars. They have access to public transport. And moving out towards Langwarrin, you connect 37,000 residents to the network. So a lot of established suburbs with people already living there actually have access to the train line near where they live.
And Frankston City Library is presenting renowned social psychologist Hugh Mckay at the Frankston Arts Centre this week to speak about his latest book, The Kindness Revolution. Mr Mckay reflects on the challenges we faced during the year of upheaval in 2020 and points to inspiring displays of kindness and consideration, sacrifices made for the common good, and a heightened appreciation of the value of local communities during the pandemic. He asks, could we become renowned as a loving country rather than simply a lucky one? Mr Mckay will speak at Frankston Arts Centre for one night only on Monday the 10th of May at 6 p.m. This event is free, but bookings are essential. We now cross to David Robertson with the Bendigo Bank Market Update.
Another month of strong economic progress through April in the build-up to the federal budget. Our latest thoughts on the outlook for the economy and the markets, and the timing of possible interest rate moves. A year on from the depths of the COVID recession, most measures of economic strength aren't just back to pre-pandemic levels, they're well ahead, and in some cases at record highs. The national aggregate numbers do mask the inconsistency of the recovery and hide the trauma of how difficult 2020 was. But looking at total employment, we're now above 13 million Australians with a job. And looking at measures of spare capacity, the underemployment rate is below 8% for the first time since 2014. This is testament to the success of JobKeeper and the range of other government support measures, hand in hand with ultra-low interest rates and managing the health crisis. And as the chart shows, the overall recovery in the jobs market has been matched by the recovery in stock markets, here and in a range of indices around the world. Also at record highs, property prices continue to race ahead in April, both in capital cities and regional Australia. We also had a record high for business conditions in the latest business survey, and a fresh record peak for the iron ore price, our largest export market. As a result, the federal budget position is stronger thanks to improving revenue. But crucially, the government has committed to further fiscal support until the unemployment rate is closer to full employment, measured by the RBA's modelling, so currently around 4.5%. So while the deficits will be less than these in the mid-year update in December, we will see more support in Tuesday's budget directed post-JobKeeper to more targeted areas in need, and hopefully, given the trend of population growth to regional locations, a heavy emphasis on regional infrastructure. This alignment of fiscal policy to monetary is most welcome and should give us more confidence about the new financial year ahead. Despite all this good news and the sharp rebound in sentiment, the COVID situation overseas remains troubling and remains the largest risk to derailing the recovery. But with our vaccination program ramping up, perhaps a greater risk is the recovery happening ahead of expectations. This would mean interest rates rising from their current emergency settings ahead of the RBA timeframe of not until 2024 at the earliest. But that timeframe was set by the RBA when they were forecasting that it would take years before unemployment dips below 5%. Now they're calling for 4.5% next year. So 2023 appears a more likely timing for higher official interest rates to start the tightening cycle. It would be a good problem to have, as this scenario would mean wages growth is back in play. But the RBA are probably waiting for a few other central banks to start their exit strategy from 0% interest rates, with New Zealand and Canada looking set to hike rates next year, meaning the RBA could do the same in financial year 22-23, but not be first cab off the rank. And lastly, The Australian dollar remains locked in a 76 to 78 cent band, underpinned by firm commodity prices, but the improved outlook for the US economy may mean the Aussie will make more ground against the yen, euro and sterling, and a tougher road outperforming the US dollar. Still, a strong Aussie dollar is expected in the second half of the year as vaccinations protect our health and protect the economy from further damaging lockdowns. And that's the market update from Bendigo Bank.
Now to Nicola with the coming week's weather report.
Hello, I'm Nicola and welcome to this week's Mornington Peninsula 7-day weather forecast. This week we are here at the Gordon Studio Glass Blowers at Red Hill. Gordon Studio Glass Blowers is made up of 3 generations of glass artists, from parents to children and now grandchildren, all skillfully working with glass. This is a rare family that has passed down their skills for future generations, each family member bringing their own unique take on the craft. Turning to the weather, today, Saturday, the 8th of May, saw a mostly overcast day with just a few scattered showers. We reached a top of 19 and a low of 10. Sunday, the 9th of May, Mother's Day, sees a partly cloudy day, only a 20% chance of rain. We can expect a top of 18 and a low of 9. Monday brings a wet day to 10 millimetres falling across the peninsula. We are looking at a wet old top of 17 and a low of 11. Tuesday starts chilly with an overnight low of 8 and possible showers, leading to an overcast day with a high of 14. Wednesday brings a partly cloudy day with a top of 16 and a chilly low of 5. Thursday continues this trend of cloud cover and rain with a top of 19 and a low of 8. And finally, Friday sees more cloud cover and rain with a top of 16 and a low of 9. Well, that's for this week. In the meantime, get yourself down here at Gordon Studio Glass Blowers at Red Hill. You know, glass blowing is a craft that has been handed down by more than 25 generations, yet the tools and techniques remain largely unchanged. Here at Gordon Studio, you can take a look at the blowing room and experience the searing heat of the furnaces from the comfort of their light-filled viewing balcony. An impressive sight to be sure. Until next time, take good care.
And now we go to our surfing guru Muzz with the Surf Report.
Morning guys, it's Muzz here from Bass Surfboards with this week's Mornington Peninsula Surf Report. Been some swell around this week, but unfortunately the low off the south coast has not provided us with the greatest conditions. There was beach breaks on Sunday last week, which were quite fun if you got in the water, as long as you picked it around the tides, because we had those super high, super low tides. So it could be closeouts at 1 minute and then full fat slugs a couple of hours later. This week, tomorrow, which is Friday, looks like the wind is going to swing offshore and it's going to remain that way for a couple of days. There will be a change coming through Sunday or Monday by the looks of it. There also is a solid spike in the swell then. Monday looks okay part of the day, but the wind will go onshore, a bit like a repeat of this week. You will get waves, it's going to be solid on the beaches, but it's kind of another one where tomorrow, Saturday, you might get surf on the beaches or at Flinders or small waves in Western Port. Definitely Western Port Monday, Tuesday, but pick the winds. They could be favourable at times and unfavourable at other times. All in all, good week to surf by the looks of it, once this wind gets around to that west northwesterly for Western Port. So hopefully you get in the water, enjoy, and I'll see you next week.
And that's all from our team here at RPPV News, serving the community with stories that matter to you. Keep watching and do tell your friends. Bringing you the news from coast to coast across Frankston and the Mornington Peninsula, I'm Catie Sharp. See you for the next edition.